Hi everyone, Comic Book Reviewer here. This time reviewing on Ben 10 Race Against Time. Now, as you know, Ben 10 Race Against Time, or as it was also known as Ben 10 the Movie, was a 2007 American superhero film which was based on the popular animated series Ben 10 by Man of Action. And the best way I can sum up the original Ben 10 is a lot like the Dragon Ball to the series. And I think we can all agree that, yeah, Race Against Time could be the Ben 10 equivalent to Dragon Ball Evolution. So the premise of the film is meant to follow in the city of Bellwood, where Gwen, Max, as well as Ben are now back at their home city, but also have to deal with a mysterious villain known as Eon. And the whole point of Eon's character is meant to be a Davros mixed with an evil Doctor Who character. So we kind of see how Ben not only has to deal with the realistic signs of having to kind of put away the Omnitrix, but having to deal with a mysterious villain, as well as trying to balance a newer responsibility. And I think for the most part, I think some of the casting isn't bad, because I obviously think when Hayley Ram has to play Gwen, she is the one trying to be the voice of reason to Ben, or get him to see realistically. Lee Majors is the right choice for Max, as he sounds a bit like this grump, but he's just trying to make sure Ben understands a bit more about responsibility. But I think Graham Phillips was trying to get Ben right, but I think didn't really have the right kind of motivation, as he's trying to sound a bit like Ben, being a bit of this kid who can go the distance but never faces the realistic consequences. It feels like Graham Phillips is trying, but it feels more like he's just given a role that clearly isn't meant to be. And the rest of the film is just throwing in whatever it can. I think as well, when you do have Ben going alien, at least some of the aliens look like what they're supposed to, like Heat Blast, Grey Matter, Diamond Head, and Wildmutt. I also know as well that originally this was intended to be the final to the Ben 10 original series, but because of things like retcons, problems with kind of continuity in that, obviously changed Eon to be an alternative Ben 10, and the events in Race Against Time in a alternative timeline. And I can see what they were going with. Obviously, Eon's character in the later Ben 10 stuff, from Ultimate Alien to Omniverse, is having this kind of Kang the Conqueror like character, and obviously it kind of implied that No Watch Ben in Omniverse was meant to be Eon. But I think the problem is, I think this happens a lot with shows where once the movie doesn't prove popular, there's going to be some elements used to help fix it. I think to me is that, yeah, Race Against Time is a bit of a weak entry, but it feels like the original intention was to do a live action Ben 10 cartoon. Definitely not the best, definitely not the greatest, but it still deserves two thumbs in the middles. Not the best entry, not the greatest, but it definitely has some moments where it can be redeemed. So, Comic Reviewer here, signing out.